All right, a very warm good evening to everyone. I welcome you all to Civil Service Achievers Point, and we'll be carrying forward today with a strategy discussion and also this year APSC papers. And I'll be also telling you that how so many things were common from our discussions. Okay, you will also get our test series and everything. There were questions directly common from our test series. Almost 80% of the questions were either covered in the test series or in our smart books or in our classroom discussions. Okay, we have all the records of our classrooms because we record all our classes, and those records are available in our app as of now. So I will also launch another video trying to highlight from which portion of discussions which question have come, so that you just check the Papuri, you just check the audio. Papuri, check the audio. Just tell me if it is okay now.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll be also discussing. I'll be giving you that particular idea that how we can predict the questions, and that you can also do it once you are thorough with the preparation. So we are starting our foundation batch from today, but for the next 3 days, we'll be discussing about a trend. And this 3 months, basically March, April, May, our target is to complete the prelims syllabus first. Okay, and then again, we'll go ahead with the required amount of classes that is required for prelims as well as mains both. Okay, so in prelims syllabus, we'll be first covering all the subjects like polity, geography, history, okay, then environment, science and technology. At the same time, we'll be also discussing about CSAT paper and also a lot of questions. But basically now let's come back, because only clearing the prelims should not be the target of everyone. Ultimately, your target should be to get your name in the final list. So today we'll start with the essay paper discussion, and in between, we'll also try to analyze that what can be the cutoff for this year mains of APSC. Many people are giving a lot of cutoffs because you have to have an idea about the cutoff when you're preparing.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I have a question for foreign services.
Sorry, for?
For the foreign services.
Okay.
Of course, you gave us a brief just.
Yes.
At the prelims, there are 2 forms. One is for the civil services, the other one is for the foreign services.
Yes.
What are the foreign services?
The foreign will come under civils only. Okay, that will come under civil services.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. All right. So there are a couple of factors what needs to be looked after in your entire preparation. Now, we all know that this preparation is being done by so many lakhs of candidates all over the nation, even in our state. Okay, there are more than 1 lakh students or candidates who are preparing for this exam at any given point of time. And if we look at a national level, then there are around 6 to 7 lakhs of candidates who every year fills up this form. Okay, so, but out of that, the success rate is so low, it's not even 1%. Okay, so some things that are very much essential while you start your preparation for this exam, and basically right now targeting for prelims UPSC 2022 and APSC prelims 2022, which is most probably expected to be conducted by September or October of this year itself. Okay, so you have rough 3 months for UPSC prelims and around 6 months of time period for APSC prelims, and we'll cover the syllabus in that limited time period without compromising on any of the topics, that is assured. But does only reading the syllabus or covering the topics or solving the MCQs will only give you result? The answer is obviously no. You need to develop certain other things. For example, if we analyze this year mains paper, okay, so many, in fact, even I have written the APSC mains this time. Okay, this is the first time I have written the state PCS, and I wanted to write the paper this time because they have set the paper as per the new pattern. They have developed a new pattern, and which is very much similar with the UPSC. Okay, and I will also discuss what were the challenges that I faced and also what I saw among the candidates who were writing the mains exam in my room. And whatever amount of knowledge I have gathered from my students or some of my friends who have written the main system. So we'll discuss everything in details. So the basic challenge, the basic problem that maximum students have faced is what? Time management. I'll give you one thing. What is the demand of the exam? And it is same like UPSC and APSC, it is same. There are 10 marker questions comprising of 10 marks each, demanding you to write 150 words. So 150 into 10 is 1500 words. And another 10 questions of 15 marks each, demanding you to write 250 words each. That means 2500 words. So 2500 plus 1500, that means 4000 words you have to write in 3 hours. That is the expectation and the demand of the exam. Now, how many words you write, that is up to you. Whether you write more or less, that is up to you. But that is a minimum set of standard or the demand or the expected number of words that the exam is asking or expecting you to write, or to deliver your articulation or your thoughts for that relevantly for that question in the limited space and the limited words. Apart from that, you have 2 papers in one single day, same like UPSC. So that means you have to write 8000 words in one day in 6 hours. Average, if you go by scientific approach, a human being can write around 16 words in 1 minute. Okay, and if we divide 4000 by 180 minutes, because 3 hours means 180 minutes, it is coming around 22.22 words. But you are not writing only during those 3 hours. You also have to read the questions, analyze the questions, understand the question, articulate your answer, make a structure and prepare the points. So how much time will this process take? Around minimum it will take 30 seconds to read the question, understand the question and frame the structure, or at least think for 5-6 points what you will write in the answer. Minimum 30 seconds. So if you calculate for 20 questions into 30 seconds, it is coming around 10 minutes. And 5 minutes you can deduct for miscellaneous activities within the examination time period. So if you are deducting 15 minutes out of 180 minutes, how many minutes are left to write? Only write 165. Now 4000 divided by 165 minutes will make or increase the demand to you to write at least 25.5 words per minute. Now you all can analyze where you stand right now by going back home and writing an answer in that particular limit. Is it clear? So maximum people have found this challenge because they did not get time to think. Yesterday one of our students came in the office and he said that he had to leave minimum 2 questions in each paper. Also, many students have even left 4 or 5 questions also in some of the papers. They could not complete the paper. So even if we consider a minimum number of questions, for example, 2 questions, if you have left 2 questions, excluding essay paper and optional papers, if you consider only the rest 5 papers of GS, so even if you have left 2 questions, maybe one from 10 marker and one from 15 marker, that means if you are leaving 25 marks in one paper, into 5 is 125 marks, which is a very huge margin of marks, which you cannot afford to leave at any cost. Then what is the challenge? How to tackle this challenge? For example, and you also want to write the best content. Yes, who will want to write an average or below average answer? Everyone will want that I will produce my best content, whatever I know, whatever I've read. But in that rush, when you are expected to write 25 words in 1 minute, do you think you will get sufficient amount of time to think? Maximum students to whom I have talked after the exam, and even when I experienced myself writing the mains, there was no time to think. There was not even a single second to think. If you are giving time to think, then you have to leave some of the questions. So then how does your mind work in that particular limited time period? So only one thing that will come to rescue is your practice. Okay, for example, if we try to take an analogy with the cricket game, for example, Virat Kohli or Sachin Tendulkar, if they also do not know that what type of ball is going to come. Whether it is a yorker or whether it is a googly or in swing, out swing, they don't know what the bowler is going to throw the ball. But if it comes at 150 km/h speed, Do you think the batsman is having sufficient amount of time to think how they will hit the ball? No, but they will automatically come. It comes from a reflex reaction or a response because they are so much into practice. So they don't need time to think. And the same thing even I experienced this time after writing mains after so many years, almost after 4 years. Okay, because I have been in touch since 2018 into teaching, and I have been always practicing. I was not practicing, but professionally I was doing it while teaching my students. I did not have to think even for a single second. For example, we have discussed so many topics in class like inclusive growth, demographic dividend. There was one question directly taken from our test series. That is the equation between vulnerability and disaster risk reduction. In fact, I have given even a formula in the class while discussing that topic, that vulnerability is inversely proportional to disaster risk reduction. And I have given 5 types of vulnerability. That what is economic vulnerability to disaster, what is social vulnerability to disaster, okay, what is attitudinal vulnerability to disaster. For example, what I am trying to tell you is that suppose if a person or a section of community is having a negative attitude towards crisis in life, and other person is having a positive attitude towards crisis in life, which section of community will have less damage? The one who is having a positive attitude, definitely, because they will be able to tackle it in a more smart manner. So the persons or the section of community who is having negative approach or attitude will always be more prone to damage because of disaster. Yes or no? Similarly, if someone is poor, some section of people who belongs to below poverty line, they are economically vulnerable to what? Disasters. Yes, because a famine will not hamper Ambanis and Adanis or upper class families, but it will definitely hamper the poor section of people. Because of lesser supply of goods, the prices will go up, inflation. So BPL families will not be able to afford. So that is what is called as economic vulnerability, and that is why vulnerability is inversely proportional to disaster risk reduction. So the more vulnerable you are, the lesser probability of reducing the disaster risk. Yes, we have discussed this in the class. And the same question came. Okay, for example, there was one more approach of geological vulnerability. For example, you are located in one of the highest seismic zone which is prone to earthquake disaster. Someone who is not located in this area, or okay, will they have equal amount of disaster risk because of earthquake? Obviously not. So that is geological vulnerability. Or suppose if you are living in a hilly area and someone is living in a plain area, who will be more vulnerable to landslides? Person who is living in hills. So the same simple question was asked, and in fact when we are discussing our disaster classes, we also discussed the same topic and the same question has come. Inclusive growth, we will go by one question, okay, no problem with that. And you can predict this kind of questions, and I had told one thing, that this time questions will be very general in nature. Did I say that? Very general in nature, and the questions have come general, except a few. Obviously exceptions will be there. And when you get a general question, the approach has to be come from a multi-dimensional aspect. Now in Assam, maximum people did not have this approach of addressing, because how many students have given earlier UPSC mains from Assam? Very few. And those who have given the UPSC mains or have cracked UPSC or prelims or mains, whatever, they maximum of them whom I know have not cracked the APSC prelims system because of the nature of the APSC exam itself, because of asking more factual, and the approach was different from the, because UPSC prelims is more application based rather when you compare with APSC, when there were more direct and factual based questions. But who is saying that next attempts in APSC will be also the same pattern as per the last year of APSC pattern? They might also start asking applied based questions like UPSC, as they have already done it in this year mains. So that is why I am telling you that the approach has to be same from now on for both UPSC as well as APSC. Okay, now I am telling you that when I was writing, I have crossed the word limits also in some questions. There was not even this amount of space left in the entire answer booklet when I wrote this year mains to even add one extra word. Because points were coming automatically. If I am writing one point, there were 5 points ready in the back of my mind. I have even written 18 to 20 points in one question, when other people have written 5-6 points. Why that was possible? Because I have been always practicing this. And practicing by how? By studying myself? No. Only by discussing in the class. So whenever I discuss, I always try to what? Do an interlinkage between various topics, multi-dimensional approach, and that is how the points come. I will explain with examples in the essay topics also today itself. Okay, so that approach has to be evolved. Otherwise, results will not come. Because for studies, so many people are studying. Lakhs and lakhs of candidates are studying, but everyone is not getting this result. So you have to produce something different from the same content. And please do not go ahead with a lot of contents. If you're reading one book, read that book for multiple times. Now suppose if you try to understand or try to ask me that what will be the cutoff range, for example. Now there can be two options. Some of the YouTube channels of Assam, they have already given some cutoff analysis for this year APSC, but I don't agree with them, some of them. Why? Because they're trying to compare either with the UPSC percentage of cutoff or with earlier versions of APSC cutoffs. Getting it? For example, in the last attempts of APSC, for example 2018, the toppers used to get around 74% of marks out of total marks. Are you getting it? It is very important to understand. The toppers used to get how many percentage in APSC? 74% of the total marks. But what is the percentage in UPSC the toppers are getting? Approximately around less than 50%. Now what does this show? This shows that APSC's marking pattern is a bit of liberal in nature. Yes or no? If it is not liberal, you cannot expect 74% of marks for the toppers, and when in UPSC it is only 50% of marks for the toppers of the total marks. So for example, total marks right now is 2000 for APSC. So if the topper has to get 74% or 75% of marks, that means it is coming out 1500 marks. So do you think the cutoff will, now we are talking about that, including the interview marks, okay, and for the topper, not on the cutoff. Cutoff will be always less as compared to topper's marks, yes or no? So out of 2000 marks, now there is also one confusion which is coming up, that APSC will consider 40% minimum marks everyone should get to qualify for mains. The 40% of 2000 is coming around 800 marks. So that means there are 8 papers and you have to get 100 average marks in each paper, right? At the same time, if we compare 74% of marks with the earlier attempts, in the earlier attempts of APSC, how many papers were there? There was only one GS paper. And there were 4 optional papers. Okay? That is why I don't agree with the other YouTubers, those who have given their analysis in YouTube. And since we are also conducting this live in YouTube, so I don't agree with them. Why? Because the cutoffs we cannot compare with the earlier versions. This time cutoff will totally take a different pattern. Even for prelims, you can go back and check. There were so many platforms which were giving the cutoff analysis. My cutoff analysis was from 112 to 118. You can check that. It is already available in YouTube. And other institutes have given cutoff around from 90 to 100, 105. Yes or no? If you have checked it. If you have not checked, you can go back home and check it. And cutoff have been around 115 to 118 only this time in APSC. Okay. So in mains, what will be now the factors which will, now cutoff, no one can tell you precisely correctly. Everyone can tell you in a particular range. So out of 2000 marks, when we try to analyze the cutoff, some factors we have to consider. One, that how many papers of GS are there, how many papers are optional. Why? Because when you write your optional paper, if it is your own subject, you are completing the paper. And earlier in APSC, the syllabus of optional was only 1/3 of what now the present syllabus is, which is same with UPSC. Because I teach sociology, and in sociology, one chapter of this year's paper 1 was the entire syllabus of paper 2 in the last attempts. Syllabus was very less. Question patterns were continuously getting repeated from past year questions. So it was 100% predictable for everyone who were attempting the papers. And from optional, you had around 800 marks. And from GS, you had only 300 marks. And there was one more paper of English, which even included grammar and essay of 300 marks. So total marks was 600 plus 800, 1400 marks for your mains, where the weightage was more from optional. Yes, 800 marks, because there are two optional papers. Now there is only one optional paper, which is same, like this approach is same for UPSC as well as APSC. So now when the weightage of optional is going down, because maximum candidates in APSC used to clear this exam on the basis of optional, not on the basis of GS. That is 100% guaranteed. If you are weak in GS, no problem. If you are strong in 4 papers of optional, you can crack APSC without a single 0.1% iota of doubt. Okay, so but this time the entire pattern got changed, similar with UPSC, where you are getting 1500 marks only from GS, because I'll consider SC also to be a part of GS. You're getting 1500 marks from GS and only 500 marks from optional subject. So those who are strong in GS will definitely crack this time the paper. Now in APSC, how many people are strong with GS? Those who have cracked the prelims. Again, there is a question mark. Because earlier, people who used to crack prelims, they cracked on the basis of optional paper. Because earlier in prelims also there was no optional paper. And if you take optionals like education, this time it has been removed. The syllabus was so less and the concepts are so easy. Political science, sociology, questions are common. You can attempt 90 questions out of 100 in the prelims itself. But this time there was no weightage of optional. There was weightage of option only in the mains. So that shows that those who are strong with GS can only crack this exam this time, because 1500 marks is there. Now, so the point that I'm trying to make here is that if you are not performing good in GS papers, then the chances of cracking the exam is going down. Yes or no? Because there are only 500 marks from optional and 1500 marks coming from GS. So the earlier trend analysis determining that 74% of the cutoff or the toppers will definitely go down. Yes or no? Because that was on the basis of optional papers. But this time the maximum marks will go because of 1500 marks, and where now the role of evaluator will come in. Whether the evaluation is being done with a liberal mindset or with a mindset that is being used while evaluating the papers of UPSC papers. Because even if you write a best to best answer, okay, how many marks you can expect out of 15 marks? 6 or maximum 7. But in the APSC, if you have written an average answer or some good content, out of 10 also you can get 7 marks. That is why the cutoff was going to 74% of marks for the toppers. But this time, since the weightage of GS is more, okay, and the liberal mindset, I don't think will be applied much, because by looking at the question pattern, which is kind of applied based questions and also similar to UPSC pattern, I think there will be also instructions given to the evaluators to limit or not have a very diversified liberal mindset. Okay, so definitely the cutoff will go down. This is one factor when I am analyzing with the cutoff analysis. Second factor, 4040 students have written the mains. There are total 331 seats this time. The ratio that officially they should maintain is 3:1. So 331 students to be selected for interview, they have to call into multiplied by 3. 331 into 3 is 993 seats. Students they have to call for interview. Round figure 1000 students they can call for interview out of 4040 students. In my center, from the first day, in my center when I was writing this year mains, now why I wrote the mains? Because I want to get the feeling of the challenge, and even I have applied so many concepts this time while writing my answers. I'll share everything today itself with all of you, and we'll also have the result by next 3 months, and that will help my guidance program to be more exam oriented. Do you agree with that? Because I know what I have written, I will know whether I have got marks on that basis or not. And if I can start with that, and I have been already doing it, I have already experienced that in the last year mains. Many of my students from sociology option also, they got top ranks in APSC. Okay, last time when 34 students cracked for my institute, so they have already got it. So this time I myself, because first time I wrote the APSC and I am experiencing it, and I am willing to share my experiences with all of you, also in the online mode. So that is the first factor which will be determining the cutoff of this year, also in the upcoming years. Second, when I was writing the mains, in the room, there were total capacity of 36 students, out of which from the very first paper, 5 students were absent. Those who did not come to write the mains, but they had cracked prelims. So on the first paper, that was the essay paper, there were 31 students who came to write the mains. Okay, and till the last paper, there were 28 students. So 3 students, though they gave 1 paper, 2 paper, 3 papers, they discontinued writing the papers because they lost the confidence. Getting it? And I've also inquired in some other centers through my students and some of my friends, those who have written the mains. So there is at least 10 to 15% of the students who were absent from writing mains. So out of 4,040, we can eliminate 600 students for sure, 500 to 600. So actually there are 3,500 students approximately who have written, but we can also find out that figure officially if APSC releases it. But from my analysis, around approximately 35 students have written the mains, out of which 500 have written only rubbish. They have written only what they know in maximum of the answers, but not what it was asked or what it was expected to write relevantly. Okay, so okay, এইটো প্লে কৰি থৈ দিবা হা তাত। Yeah, Rumita Das has said there was not much time to think. Rumita, I'll tell you that there was not even 1 second to think while writing the exam this year. David, I am already discussing the cutoff. Okay, our team will get back to every question. Okay, I'll also, if there is some particular questions which needs to be taken care of, we'll take it in the next class. All right, we'll evaluate the this comments. Anyways, you can put your comments if you have any queries or something. In microphone put us. It will come right. It will come for this. Is it working now? Is it working now? Okay. Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. There was a slight technical problem. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the cutoff will determine on all these factors. Okay. Determining on the weightage of the GS. Okay, which is increased. Secondly, so many people are not adapted to write this 20 questions in 3 hours, where you are expected to write 4,000 words in 3 hours. Your time limit, you're not good in time management. Secondly, when you are going to complete the paper, your handwriting is getting compromised. Your presentation is getting compromised. Your visibility of your answers are also getting compromised. Many students, even after telling everyone that please underline the keywords, many people fail to do it because of lack of time. So the visibility of the answer goes poor. It becomes poor. All right. So all these things matter a lot in getting the marks in your mains answers. So this time, maximum students have faced it for the first time. And the last important factor, what I'll tell you, when I give the example of practice through the analogy of cricket, okay, we had 232 students total from online, offline, and all the MOUs that we have with all the colleges. 232 students who cracked prelims last year. Out of that, can you guess how many students came and wrote the test series? Out of 232, there were only maximum 50 those who wrote, both in the offline and the online, who submitted the answers in the online mode. Why? Because APSC had never conducted an exam like this in such a short notice of time period, that too with that amount of more syllabus. This time the results came out in November, and they had declared that the exam will be conducted by January. There were only 2 months left. So first, students told us that they will write by the late December or January. And by the time January appeared, they saw that their preparation was not going on the right track. They could not complete so many things on time. So they thought that they will further, they started to expect that APSC will get postponed. So many students were waiting for the hearing of Guwahati High Court till 14th of Feb, which was the last hearing date, whether exam will be postponed or not. So many students were waiting for it till the last day of 14th, just 1 week prior to the examination date, and the exam did not get postponed. Many students did not even practice a single answer writing practice, they did not do it. So they have faced this problem. Another factor is that many students have, as I already said, have only written what they know, but they have not written what were being asked. But they have written like the way you do in your graduation exams. So considering all these factors together, even if you go by a liberal approach of marking, the cutoff is definitely going to go down, and it will be somewhere around 45% to 55% of the total marks of the final marks considering the interview. Okay, that means if you want to crack this exam in this attempt, okay, you have to score minimum a marks of around 850. Okay, I'm saying for male general category. Okay, because there is a maximum cutoff. Gradually it will come down for female general, then OBC male, OBC female, then SC male, SC female, even for EWS categories, and for ST plains hills, male female, accordingly it will cut down. And you can at least consider 20 to 30 marks of difference in these categories. You can consider the differences. So for general male category, the cutoff for mains will be at least 820. Okay, for the general male category, it will be at least 820 and somewhere till 900. Not more than that, not less than that. That is as considering all these figures. But if you go by 74% approach, it will come around 1300, 1400, which is not possible for this time. For this time exam, it is not possible. But again, next year the cutoffs will go higher because this was the first attempt to face the uncertainty. Okay. Now I'll come back to the discussion of how to write and how to address this kind of papers. All right. So there will be a cutoff variation from 820 to 900 for general male categories, only from mains marks. But when you will add the interview marks, you can add an average marks of 150 to it. So if we consider 850 to be the average cutoff for general male category, then 150 is 1000 marks out of 275 marks. Okay, which is lesser than 50%. Because 275 का 50% कितना होगा? Somewhere around 1130. Less than 50%. And the cutoff will be somewhere around 1000 plus minus 50 for general male category, considering the interview marks. But for toppers, definitely it can go till 1200. We don't know. Even it can even go to 2000, depending on the marking. But obviously it won't go to 2000, but it might go somewhere near to 1150 to 1200 marks. But cutoff for general male category will be somewhere from 950 to 1050, not more, not less. And accordingly, you can deduct 30 marks average for each category, male, female. Okay, for female general, it could be 15 marks less. For male OBC, it can calculate as 30 marks less. Okay, so for SC, ST, for ST Hills, the cutoff will be somewhere around 800 total, including the interview marks. Okay, so that means even if you are getting 100 marks average in the mains, you are qualifying the exam. Okay, but maximum people again are getting around 80 to 90 average when they are trying to analyze it. Okay, so let's not focus much into it because whatever is gone is gone. Now let's focus what we can do now to improve our preparation and how to produce the difference. Let's now come back to the essay paper 1. For example, when we see the essay paper 1, this was the paper, and for example, if we discuss section A and section B, you will see that they have asked the similar pattern what UPSC used to ask in the earlier patterns, except this year UPSC mains that was conducted on January, where they gave philosophical and abstract topics in both the sections, section A and section B. Do you think writing an essay in section E is difficult when the topic is philosophical? How do you approach these kind of essays? Do you think it is difficult? Or, for example, if I tell you these topics, a good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. Being a leader is great, but being a good follower is greater still. No man is an island. Knowledge is its own reward. These are abstract topics. We'll discuss this, okay, how to approach this. Even I will share what I have written in this essay. I wrote topic number 1, a good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. I have written this topic. Okay, and from section B, very simple. And we have discussed almost all the topics in the class. NEP, Industrial Development in Assam. Okay, I had given a topic of 250 important topics. उसी में ये answer था. Role of women I have discussed. Skill development and employment. Very simple topics. Okay, I have personally written topic 6, problems of industrial development in Assam. Okay, this everyone can write. These topics, any random person who will clear the prelims will be able to write. So the marks that you will get will be average because everyone will do good in this section B. But the difference that you can produce of 20 marks in the or 30 marks in the essay will come only from section A. How you write an introduction, how much multi-dimensional angle you are able to put into it, how much dynamic aspects you are able to put into it, and how different you are writing. I had given a short video clip before the exam as a best wishes to all our students, where I had talked about one particular thing. I don't know how many have received that message, but I said that do not make your essay simply as a GS elongated answer. Essay is something else. Essay is about articulation of your thoughts. So whenever you are writing an essay, it should not simply look as a GS elongated answer. Because, for example, if you are writing, we'll talk about an abstract or maybe skill development and employment, this can even come in GS3, all the schemes and everything. That you can also write a GS answer in this topic, yes or no. But essay has to be something different. You will write GS content definitely, but you will also produce some thoughts. All right. Now, in the next 1 hour, I will try my best to open up your mind, to qualify this exam, and to show you the process, what we are going to do it for the next upcoming months, and to produce that difference, because my target is to produce that difference in you. Because the content is same. I am not saying our content is the best content. I am not even saying that someone else's content is the worst content. I am not saying it. I am saying the opposite. Our content is the worst content, someone else's content is the best content. No problem. Following any content, how to produce the best result, that is my intention and that is my goal and my target. For my students, those who of you have joined or come here. Are you getting it? And I have not invited you to come here, or I'm not pushing you to come here. Okay, you have come here at your own will. We have simply given you the awareness that this program is happening. Now, whosoever comes here, I take it in a manner that I have to generate the social capital, the trust between the organization and the youth's fraternity. So how to build up that social capital? By trying to produce the difference, but only if you follow it. If you check our previous videos, you will see I will also discuss so many topics. All 4 topics were discussed in our classes. In GS papers also, I'll discuss one and each every question in an individual manner, and I'll tell you where I have taught this. Coming to the first topic, for example, a good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. Getting it? Now, when you see this topic, what is the first? For example, we can discuss every topic, but let me first try to open up your mind, because only then you will be able to produce something different in your answers. Because आपके पास कितना knowledge है वो evaluator को नहीं पता unless and until you write the content in the answer sheet. Yes or no? Because evaluator will only know or judge your answer by reading the content that you have written. How much you know, it doesn't matter. Even the evaluator will not come to know unless and until you are portraying it down in the answer sheet. Now, I am telling you that we will read so many things. Okay? Polity, history, geography, everything will read. How to apply those concepts in this particular theories or topics. Okay? For example, a good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. Can you give me some points? What is the first point that is coming to your mind by reading this statement? A good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. Success. What do you mean by success?
Well, someone has love and knowledge, and of course the man is going to be successful.
Okay. So will success make the life good? Okay, I'll come to that point. Anyone else?
He's constantly inspired. Basically, it's love of parents. Or knowledge, if someone has 2 PhDs, of course he'll be inspired, so of course he'll have that sort of backing.
I understood. Yes, I'll come to your point and I'll counter your point. Okay. Tell me some other points. Anyone else? Give me some points. A good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. What will you write? I'll give you 1 minute time to think. I want to listen at least 1 point from all of you.
Should we mention the virtues of good life?
Sorry?
The virtues of good life.
Achievements.
Yes, because what does a good life consist of? How does it look like?
Okay, yes, definitely we can write it. Tell me at least 1 point more. I want to hear from all of you. Nothing is coming in. It's about your life. It's talking about, and we all have a life, right? And it's saying that your life can be good if you're inspired by love and guided by knowledge.
Developing international relations.
International relations. Okay, how? Can give me an example? All right.
Economy, finance, I would say, because key to a good life, the path to a good life is if you're financially sound, of course you'll have a good life.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Okay, let me now come to the discussion. Okay. Suppose how to tackle this, because you you are not giving me any points in this topic. Which topic will you select? At least give me the answer. Because you have to write one essay, right? Out of this 4. For example, you have to write a mains today. Which topic will you select out of this 4? Being a leader is great. Okay. Okay. So you will select topic number 2. Others? No man is an island. How many of you will you select the topic? Okay. Knowledge is its own reward. What about the rest? You will not select any topic or what? You will select 2. Okay. How many of you will select 1? Okay, then at least you have to give me the points for this first topic.
So to label life based on keeping a certain amount of ethical standards for yourself, to be considerate of your fellow man and to not do wrong things.
Okay, okay. Now I'll tell you, see, points are not coming up. That is a major problem. But whatever points I'll tell you, or at least what I wrote in the introduction, I'll tell you that point. And I normally do it in all the classes. I took a point from history and tried to apply it in the essay topic. Okay, a good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. Now, how to open up our minds? First of all, that is very important on whatever we read. I'll give you one disclaimer. It doesn't matter how much you have read or how much you have studied, unless and until you are able to produce it in the paper. And that produce or that writing down your answer will never come unless and until you think on whatever you have read. Okay, so thinking is a very, very important part while you are reading any particular topic. For example, if we try to analyze Chanakya's Niti here. Okay, now I'm not trying to analyze that particular point in this essay. I'm just trying to give you an example to open up the mind, to think. Chanakya's Niti. We all have heard about Chanakya, right? Yes? Who was Chanakya? Who led to the defeat of Nandas and established the Mauryan dynasty. We all know this. We'll also study this in the ancient history syllabus. It's a part of the syllabus. Mauryan dynasty is a very important part. And we know that Magad became one of the most and prominent capital. And when we read the NCERTs or even our smart books or any random sources, we get one point there, for example, that how Magad, or what was the advantageous point for Magad to remain as a prominent capital?
It's military.
Not military. Because military is there in almost all the dynasties. There is also importance of geographical location. It was surrounded by 3 hills on all sides, and on the other side there was a river flowing. So if the enemy has to attack, they have to either attack from the other side of the hills, where also you will get an advantageous position because you will be at an upper position. And it is always difficult to come and attack from the lower position, right? So strategically it was very important, and that is why that location was selected as a capital. And if you are attacking from the water side, then also your base is not stable. Then also you have an advantage because you are standing in a stable position and your attackers are not standing in a stable position. This is a thing that not what I am saying, but this is something that you can all know after reading the NCERT, because it is mentioned in the NCERT or even what we discuss in the classes. ये तो आपने पढ़ लिया. You have studied. Now, how do you utilize this to think? That is what I want to know, because if you are not adopting this, as even Rumita has written that there was no time to think and that I will also accept. It was an advantageous position for me because points were coming one after another for me, because I have been always into practice of this interlinkage and while discussing so many points in the classes. But for many people who were not into practice, they had to think, they had to waste time, and they could not complete the papers. Now, how do you think this part? I'm just keeping it open for all of you. How do you think this particular concept that you get in the NCERT, and where do you utilize it? Are you getting it? So you need to think. For example, if you consider our geography, the city of Guwahati, it is also surrounded by hills on all sides, isn't it? Guwahati is surrounded by hills, and on one side there is river flowing. It is surrounded by Meghalayan plateau on that southern side. Eastern side, western side, there are so many hills. Yes. So can you establish a similarity with the Nandas and the with the Mauryan dynasty, the Magad capital, and the capital city of Dispur or Guwahati, and the importance of Guwahati in the earlier time period when fights took place between Mughals and Ahoms in this particular area? Yes or no? Is there a linkage of understanding? Tell me, at least reciprocate, or else like my classes will go very dull. At least reciprocate with yes or no, whether you are understanding or not what I am trying to figure out. So this is not written anywhere, but this is something you need to start thinking and start applying. And that is what will help you to crack this exam for sure. Even if you have read less, but if you are trying to apply more of your thoughts and interlinking relevantly with the contemporary time period. This time there are so many questions picked up from history but applied with contemporary time period. Okay, so this is just one thought I'm giving you. Now, for example, a good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. I have written around 20 points in my essay, but I cannot discuss all the 20 points because of the limitation of time. I'll give you at least 3 to 4 examples of the concepts, and then you will analyze that how differently I am trying to write and how you will also write. Writing difference is very important because otherwise evaluators will feel very boring if you are writing the same points and same points are coming. And that is why I always say that don't write a GS elongated answer in your essay paper, because that will be written by everyone. GS points will be present in the essay, which will be written by any random person, those who have cracked the prelims. So the evaluator will also find it very boring to check, and definitely your marks will come down. So how to produce this difference? That is where your thinking role will come in. And right from 2018, since I started here, I have been saying this thing that logical thinking on whatever you have read is very, very important to crack this exam. But we tend to miss it because we are always in a rush. Today we have to complete this book, today we have to do this, because toppers have, set certain limitations that you need to read this newspaper, you need to give this test series, you need to give this, you need to complete this number of books. So there is a set target of books or sources that you need to cover. Someone has said that they have been following XYZ source, so now from tomorrow you will also start following the XYZ source. It's not required at all. Okay, it's not required at all. Toppers will say that you need to take coaching in this institute or you need to go to Delhi or something like that. Everything is bullshit. Sorry for the word, but it is actually bullshit. Why? If you see the success rate of Delhi in UPSC, they take it off from last 5 years. They take it off from last 5 years. And in last 5 years, every year, only in Old Rajendra Nagar, which is the hub of civil service aspirants, there are around 40,000 people staying. And in last 5 years, there are 2 lakhs people staying. Out of that 2 lakhs, if this time the average is 60 to 70 results come from Delhi. And that is what you will also find them in all the institutes. What about the rest 700 students? Why they are not into the limelight, or why they are not seen or visible? Because they are not in Delhi. They have done it from their own remote places. So if you go by that fact, it is the hidden truth is what? The hidden truth is that by staying at your own place, you can also crack UPSC. If you are self-independent. And this is where you are If you accept it, you are giving more importance to truth rather than to convenience. Going to Delhi is your convenience, satisfying your own needs. But accepting the fact that staying at your own place and you can crack this exam in real sense is the truth. But we all tend to believe in what? Convenience, not truth. And that is the nature of human beings. For example, if we see any color, okay, for example, she is wearing an orange color sweater. Is that the real color of a sweater? Is it a real color? No. Why? Because the sweater's color is not orange. It is what?
Saffron.
It is not saffron. It is some other colors which have been absorbed by the sweater. We are seeing that color because it is getting reflected. And it is convenient for our eyes to say it as orange or green or yellow because it is convenient for our eyes because we see that color. But the truth of or the color of that object is not the truth. It is absorbed. The truth is absorbed. But we select the convenience. And that will realize in everyday life. And that will stop you from cracking this exam. This exam, in order to crack it, we have to accept and know the truths of this exam, not the conveniences. Getting it? Even coming to coaching is convenience. The truth is you can all crack it by your own, staying at your home. If you are motivated enough to crack the study, do the right things. But yes, proper guidance is required if you want to save time. For example, why do we celebrate, for example, Joakali Mahashivratri Asile, right? So there was a puja. So do you think Shiv and Ganesh or Durga or Kali, as per Hindu mythology, who is the most important god?
Lord Brahma.
He's the creator of universe.
Yes.
But do we have any festivals on Lord Brahma? No.
There is a temple.
There is a temple, yes. But in our society, every year we celebrate Ganesh Puja first and then other pujas. Why?
There is a story.
I'll tell you in short. Because Ganesh reflects elephant and elephant selects truth over convenience. Because elephant can't see anything. Do you think elephant can see? It only acts on the basis of wavelengths. And on that basis of wavelength, it calculates what is that object. It cannot see any color. Okay? And to let or to allow the society to remember that you need to select truth over convenience, and that is why as per Hindu mythology, we celebrate Ganesh Puja first. Even if Ganesh is not that of a super idol as compared to Shiv or Durga or some other gods or goddesses. So please remember this particular fact that you need to accept or follow the truth and don't go by convenience. Now we can apply. Now that can be an essay topic also. Suppose you all go by magazines, current affairs magazines, or YouTube gist lectures of current affairs, but you will never read the newspaper on your own. Maximum people. There also you are selecting what? Convenience rather than selecting the truth. The truth is, in order to crack this exam, you have to read the newspaper on your own at least for 6 months minimum to grasp the understanding of all the topics. You have to give 1 hour of time to the newspapers. But you are selecting to 20 minutes this summary of YouTube videos, Unacademy ho gaya ya fir jo bhi ho, XYZ. Because you are going ahead with convenience, and convenience will never give you result. Truth will definitely give you result. So you are smart enough, you are matured enough to understand and select your own actions if you want to crack this exam. Okay, coming back to the topic, a good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. You could, what I wrote as an introduction is about Ashoka. Okay, where he was inspired by love and knowledge for the people, and where Bheri Ghosha got transformed into Dhamma Ghosha, and that we read in ancient history. Okay, that limited the territorial expansion of the Mauryans, but promoted good life and peace among the members of the dynasty. I started with that particular quote, quoting Ashoka, okay, and the Mauryan dynasty. And that knowledge came from Buddha. The philosophy of Dhamma came from Buddhism, and love towards others. Yes, that is something why I wrote, because I know I have interlinked from history and writing a thought in the essay. This is what I am trying to mean when I am telling you that you need to open up your mind on whatever you have read, and you need to know where you can apply it. And this practice, we do it. We do it at a regular level in our classes. Second thing, for example, I got one example of road accidents. I had read somewhere. What is the number of road accidents that happened in India? Around 1.5 lakhs average road accidents, premature deaths. Maximum youths die in the road accidents. So road accidents, death or paralysis or damage of a half of a body, is it promoting good life? No. Now I will try to relate that with love and knowledge. Concept of seat belt. I've even written this as an example. This concept of seat belt was evolved by Volvo. You have heard about this Volvo company, right? So Volvo had innovated this concept of seat belt. And this is an American company. Sorry? Yes. I don't remember the name, but it is an American company, that is what I know. And this American company, he was motivated because he lost someone very close in a road accident, and he was trying to figure out how to reduce the load. And at that time period, average there were 1 lakh of citizens dying only because of road accidents and rash driving. And he evolved this concept of seat belt. It's now we can, and even now, when we see in the roads, maximum people do not wear seat belts while driving. Even I sometimes fail to wear the seat belts while driving. Okay, because that is convenience of not wearing a seat belt rather than accepting the truth. Because if you wear it, the truth is you are reducing the death rate and promoting a good life by not meeting with an accident. Even if you meet with an accident, you'll be saved. So Volvo owner did not file a patent because of his love towards saving life and promoting good life for the people. And he gave it for free for all the companies. And within that particular 1 year, all companies adopted the concept of seat belt, and it was introduced in all the cars. And within 1 year, the death rates from 96,000 or 98,000 annually came down to 4,000 only. And the next year, the deaths because of road accidents was only 4,000. 90% reduction. How? But if Volvo would have applied the patent rights, would it have been possible to reduce the or promote good life among so many people in that short notice? No. So love towards people and the society, love doesn't mean only your personal love with your partners. Love can be anything. Okay, love for technology, love for society, and guided by knowledge of innovation. You are promoting what? Good life for so many people. There is one example I even wrote in the essay. I even talked about what the newspapers are talking since last 10 years in so many editorials, and that is why I ask all of you to select truth then convenience, because in no YouTube channel you will get this example of perception of corruption. I bet you on this, but you'll get it in so many editorials of The Hindu and Indian Express. For example, when I talk about perception of corruption, so this is a new concept. What United Nations, all the international platforms, I understand you do not have very good respect, a good amount of respect for United Nations right now. Okay, but keeping that aside, because of the Ukraine and Russian war crisis, keeping that aside, okay, if we try to analyze what the international organizations or the platforms are right now trying to figure out, because they had given a United Nations development program, and under that they giving an index that is called as Human Development Index. We all know that. There is a part of the syllabus. If you go and read Ramesh Singh, if you go and read our smart book, if you follow any random source, you will always get Human Development Index as a part of the topic of your economics syllabus or international relations syllabus. Yes. But which country is the most happiest, or which country for the first time launched the happiness? Because happiness we can relate with good life.
Bhutan.
Bhutan is the most happiest, and it is the first nation who has started to release the National Happiness Index. But when we try to talk about the most developed, economically developed countries, countering your point, okay, for example, American society or Western society, when we try to figure out that they are the most economically developed countries, and if you try to relate economical success with happiness and good life, then Human Development Index would have been a sufficient index, and these developed countries would not have been searching for a new index, trying to follow Bhutan's model. Because the rate of anxiety, the rate of mental disorder, the rate of conflicts, the rate of divorce rates, the rate of murders at personal levels has gone up in all these developed countries. Even after being so much developed economically, being the largest economies of the world, okay, they are the people, the psychological disorder, the problems of frustration or anxiety has gone up to the next level. That is why the Western-based societies are trying to now find out a new index to calculate happiness or what is actually a good life. So there comes the perception of corruption. In one of the editorials, it was written that there are 5 types of corruption. The first is what we normally understand by corruption, that is your monetary corruption. That is a narrow definition of corruption. For example, if you're bribing someone or taking bribe, you are monetarily corrupted. Yes, that is what you understand. So if you are a corrupted person, can you be happy? You cannot be happy. Okay, suppose if you are given money to someone to get a job, you can never be happy because you have a fear of getting caught. Okay, there are other dimensions also. For example, having a number of people on whom you can count at the time of a crisis. But those are subjective things. I did not write that point. I wrote about perception of corruption and how, if people deal with it, how a good life can be promoted with love towards the society. Because if you're not corrupted, you are having love. Sorry, I did not write love towards society here. I wrote here love towards your core principles of value system. Okay, I wrote here love towards your own core principles of value system. I'll explain that. And knowledge of this perception of corruption can promote a good life in each and every individual. How? Now these are thoughts, but this is not GS elongated. And definitely, let's see what marks I'll get. But I have been teaching this, and many of my students have already scored very good marks. Even in UPSC, you'll get very good marks if you can write these thoughts, which are relevantly applicable to the topic that has been given or asked in the question. So the next type of corruption is like your flesh corruption. Suppose if you are cheating on your partner, or if you are having multiple sexual affairs with so many people, then you are flesh corrupted. And then also you will never be able to have a happy mindset. Because you'll be always under the feeling of guilt, or I hope you understood, right? So that is the flesh corruption. And these things are discussed under the perception of corruption. Why people in the modern society are not happy. Or even after having 10 houses, 10 vehicles, a very successful person in the business life or in the economic activities, earning millions and millions of money, but still they're not happy, suffering from frustration or anxiety or mental disorder because of flesh corruption. Third type of corruption is your glamour corruption, which we all of us want. For example, the moment you will get a result, you'll be expecting that some news channel comes and captures you. That is prevalent, and that our society is making us corrupted. Right from the class 10 metric result. So your expectations is increasing. If you get rank 1 in UPSC, you will go in all the new television channels. Your photo will immediately come. That will make you glamorously corrupted, We'll expect more and more people to make you relevant in all contexts and highlight you in all contexts. That is why so many individuals who are so successful, they carry a PR team with them. They carry a PR team with them who will capture their daily activities and upload in the social media and trying to put a glamorous thing to it. Okay, and suppose if one day you do not get it, for example, if tomorrow Amitabh Bachchan comes here in front of you and you consider him as a normal person and do not give him that recognition which he normally gets, do you think he will be happy or he will be devastated? Even Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan or whosoever it is. If people start giving them that glamorous appreciation or recognition, they will be devastated like anything. They'll not, and because they are always suffering this crisis of missing out or this insecurity. Okay, and if this starts happening, they will start doing they will start doing things which will not be accepted by the society. Fourth is your family corruption. Because of your family, because you are corrupted from your family perspective, you are never happy. Why you are never happy? Once you get a job, you need to get married. You have certain limitations, responsibilities there. Once you are married, you want babies, you want proper schooling for them, you want this, you want that. Forget about those things. If you're in the services, if someone is blackmailing you by putting a gunpoint on your family members, you'll always select the family members and not what is written in the rule of law. So you'll never be satisfied with the job that you're doing because you need to satisfy your family needs first. And that is what is also under your perception of corruption. And the last one, which is very, very important, is your value corruption. If you're compromising on your own values, you'll never be happy. For example, your heart or your mind is telling you something else to do, guided by the theory of integrity or probity. And now here I'm inculcating all my knowledge from ethics and trying to write down in this essay. For example, value corruption means if you're compromising with your integrity. Suppose you know that it is wrong to give corruption or take corruption, but you are still doing it to fulfill some other needs, then your values are getting corrupted. And once your values are corrupted, you can never be a happy person. I doubt even if someone else will write this kind of thoughts in this essay. But from where I'm bringing these points, I'm not bringing it from anywhere. I'm bringing it from my GS knowledge only. Because ethics is also a paper of your syllabus. You can even write about yoga, promotion of yoga and spiritualism, okay? And try to write about the minimalistic approach towards life, where I have given an example of the recent government slogan itself, minimum government, maximum governance. What is that? Minimum government and maximum governance. It is trying to promote what? A good life for everyone, guided by love for the people. For example, you can quote this example of Basundhara scheme that has been recently launched in Assam, or Dharitri app. For example, you have to go and run after peons and fourth grade officers to get a file passed if it is related to some land revenue or some circle office. Or you need to do a Jamin Naam Jari if you are buying a property. Or if you want to get a pension, you have to go after the treasury officers year after year after year, and you will not get. So what is this promotion of governance aspect that the present government is trying to focus on? Minimum government, maximum governance. This is what? Knowledge of, or maybe ease of doing business. Knowledge and love for the people. Love for governance will promote what? Good life. It will make life of so many people easier, isn't it? If you do not have to go to a public office and spend 10 days of time there just to get one signature in your file, is it not, if it is not required, is it not promoting good life? So what is the definition of good life? It is so broad. You can write with so many examples. And this is what, because I have been teaching, minimum government, maximum governance in my classes. I have been teaching, I'm talking about ethics. I've been talking about ancient history. Okay? Or so this thoughts keeps on coming in my mind when I'm trying to interrelate, and this is what you also need to evolve in your duration of it. And this is also what we do in our classes, regular classes. Okay, whenever I'm teaching a topic, I try to interrelate with as many number of topics I can. Okay, so any essay if you're writing, you need to write and see the thought and then GS. But if you only write GS, you'll definitely get lesser marks as compared to others. Okay, so I have given around 20 examples. Okay, I don't remember all of them right now. Whatever came in my mind, I gave. But I'm just giving an example that how you need to open up your mind. Okay, for example, when I asked you, these points were not coming. But don't you think you already know these points? Or at least when you read it, or at least when you cover the syllabus, you'll know these points. But that is not important whether you know it or not. I have already told you before discussing it. The evaluator will not know what is there in your mind. He or she will only know what you have written it down. So the more you will emphasize on thinking on whatever you read. That is why I always say that you read less and try to think more and practice more. Okay, and that is what I was always telling this, that you start writing, and the irony is out of 232 students, only around 50 students had written the test series. Around 180 students did not even approach us to write or get it evaluated. Okay, and I am very sure maximum of them have, and I have also talked with so many people, they have faced this challenge. They could not get time to think, they could not complete the paper. Okay, and even if they have written, they are not satisfied with the content that they have written because they have compromised with the content. The content could not be more than average. Okay, so that is why practice. Okay, considering the truth over convenience. Now, not writing answers on a daily basis is your convenience. You can all go by your lethargy approach, or delaying it or postponing it. Okay, or procrastination. You can also go by that. That will be a convenience. But the truth is, you need to write answers, which you need to start from today itself. The truth for cracking prelims is that you need to solve at least 50 MCQs on a daily basis. There is no ideal preparation that you will first complete all your syllabus and then you will start practicing. It is not like that. And that is why I am starting a new innovative approach this time. Okay, and I, along with one of our faculty from Delhi, we will be monitoring, and we will be, but this is not included in the foundation batch. Foundation, we are starting only for 200 students in the entire state, daily answer writing evaluation program, where we will not give you questions. We will only evaluate answers. If you are a student of our foundation batch or our test series, you will get questions from us. We'll give you question papers, you will come here and write here, and then we'll evaluate and send it back to you. But here, daily basis, but when we do that, your preparation gets limited to the syllabus and the schedule that we have made it for you. But what I saw in the last 4 months, suppose next Sunday we have a test of polity and you are reading economics. So there is always a mismatch. So if you are reading economics, you can get thousands of questions on economics of past year or any random question or on current affairs from the internet, and you want to write an answer, but there is no one to evaluate it. So you can immediately send it to us and we evaluate within 72 hours, that is 3 days, and we'll give you the proper feedbacks. And for that, we'll charge a minimum cost of 2,500 rupees plus GST. But we'll take only 200 students. But because beyond that, it will not be under our capacity to check all the answers. 2,500 rupees plus GST, you can give us maximum 20 answers every day. Okay, and if we do not give you the evaluated answers back within 72 hours, continuously for 5 days, you can take back your money. But that will be applicable only till the next mains of both UPSC as well as APSC. You can give us your answers on a daily basis. You can give us 20 answers and we'll check those 20 answers. and give you the proper, but that will come only through email. No offline, only through online contact. And in a proper scanned manner. Okay, and that is how, even if you write 5 answers, you can send it to us and you'll get it evaluated. And this will be applicable till the next mains of both UPSC as well as APSC, where we will try to promote the answer writing culture in Assam, which is missing right now. And that is why this time cutoff will go down, and at the same time, we are not able to crack UPSC mains also. And that is why last year there was only 1 result from Assam. Right now I am giving training programs under Government of Assam, under Department of Pre-Examination Training Center, under Assam Administrative Staff College, where I am providing training to 60 students sponsored by Government of Assam for UPSC 2022. And for them also we will start this approach. But that program was only for prelims. But only cracking the prelims should not be the target, because this problem of writing answers within a limited time and within a limited word limit is the actual challenge. I have been talking about this since last 3 years, but this time our candidates from Assam has actually realized the actual challenge. And for all of you to realize it, I welcome all of you to write the paper of this year mains in the same exam format, in the same exam time, for free of cost on weekends, to come here and write from 9 to 12 and 1:30 to 4:30. You can come here and write the papers here with the limited knowledge, whatever you have, okay, and try to analyze where you stand right now. Because that realization of the truth is very important even before you start preparing for this exam. Because in these 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, will be the discussion about the strategies only. From Monday, we'll be starting with the proper classes, and we'll be starting with polity and geography. Okay, 2 subjects will go parallel, and our target is the prelims of UPSC this year and APSC prelims. Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make here is that you have to select the truth, and where you need to do a regular practice of answer writing, at least 2 answers on a daily basis, because this is an evolution. Okay, if you do not do it, you will fail in the mains, and it cannot happen in that 2 months or 3 months of gap that you'll get between prelims and mains. You cannot do that. Okay, and for prelims you need to solve minimum 50 MCQs on a daily basis. And if you try to evolve that thinking approach by opening up your mind that I have been talking about since last 1 hour, if you do that, you can solve extra 20 questions correctly in the prelims also. Because if you talk about only UPSC, where your mind stops thinking, the answers evolves from there in UPSC, in some of the questions, where you have no idea about it. So if you are thinking more, if you are analyzing more on thinking approach, you will be able to solve certain questions where you don't have any knowledge, but if you apply the correct logics based on your thinking approach. I hope the point is clear. Because in UPSC or APSC, when there is negative marking, you cannot attempt all the 100 questions. You can attempt average 60 to 80 questions, or 85, 90 also you can attempt, no problem, if you are able to take the risk. But many people have a fear to take the risk in the prelims. Okay, so when you are 100% surety, will have in around 40 to 45 or 50 questions maximum. But those questions will not help you to crack the prelims, because in those 40-50 questions also, some questions will be wrong. You'll make some silly mistakes. So you have to take a risk of at least 20 to 25 questions, where in order to make it correct, your thinking approach, your logical ability development approach will come to rescue if you want to crack it, the prelims in the first attempt itself. And that is why we'll also conduct test series, definitely. And from next Sunday, your test series is starting. You'll get the schedules also. Okay, your test series will be starting for prelims. Till last month, we were conducting the mains test series. Now, from 2nd week of March, on the weekends, okay, on the weekends there will be no GS classes. You'll be getting only the test series. So you will be getting the test series, and the first 3 months, March, April, and May, the standard of the questions will be somewhat matching with the standard of UPSC. Okay, because you don't know that whether APSC will maintain its standard of APSC or it will go to the UPSC level, and those who are giving UPSC, it will also help them. Once the notification of APSC will be out, we'll also start conducting APSC test series with a different standard of questions which will be fitting with APSC. So you will be getting prepared for both the directions at the same time because the syllabus is same. Okay, so initially we'll be starting with the, even if you are not giving UPSC this year, if you are targeting only APSC this year, then also you'll be benefited because the concepts and knowledge will be definitely come to help in solving APSC prelims questions or MCQs also. Are you getting it? So we'll be starting this. You'll be getting the schedule very soon. Okay, and from second weekend of March this time, our test series will start for prelims. Okay, and first we'll conduct the sectional test. That is polity, 100 questions, history 100 questions, like that, and then when the exams will be near, then we'll start with the full length test along with the CSAT. Your CSAT classes will also start very soon. Okay, and CSAT test will be also conducted because do not ignore the CSAT. Okay, I tell you again, I repeat it again, do not ignore the CSAT. If you go back and check UPSC 2020 and 2021 CSAT paper standard of the paper questions, it was not easy. If you do not, even if you come from a science background or engineering background, if you are not into practice with this type of questions being asked, you may not be able to qualify the CSAT paper. Okay, so it is never advisable to ignore the CSAT paper because you again do not know whether APSC will ask easy questions or difficult. Because in UPSC, if we see the trend from 2011 onwards, when the first time they had introduced a CSAT paper, the standard of questions have been always becoming more and more difficult, and 2021 paper was the most difficult paper. So even for APSC also the same thing can happen, and you cannot ignore CSAT at any cost, and that is why CSAT at least 2 hours to 3 hours you should give on a weekly basis from now on. And we should be tackling with one topic each. Okay, and we'll be also taking the classes, but you should be very comfortable with some of the topics, just say new number system. In CSAT, if you analyze the question papers, 15 questions are out of 80 questions, 15 questions are coming only from the number system. Now I know maximum people are weak in this number system, but you cannot avoid this particular number system. You need to evolve your concepts and your practice in the number system. Okay, we'll teach you. You don't have to worry about it. We'll teach you definitely, but you need to practice a lot. At least 2-3 hours per week practice should be done. Even if you're very comfortable with CSAT, then also you should do it. And if you're very weak, then you should give at least 6 to 10 hours per week on CSAT paper because the exam is near, both UPSC as well as APSC prelims. APSC prelims is expected to be conducted by September, October, and UPSC prelims, the date is already out, June 5th, I think, or June 4th. Okay, June 5th, I think, is the date for UPSC next prelims. All right, so I hope you have understood the basic importance of the approach that needs to be taken or considered while preparing for this exam, and it is not only randomly following the strategies developed by some other people like reading Lakshmikant for polity or reading Spectrum publication for history. We'll do it. We'll definitely study those things also. But your approach of thinking, your practice are the two important things which will give you result. If you want it, you have to do it at any cost, okay, without missing it out. Are you getting it? Okay. So this is one example I gave you. All right. Then, for example, no man is an island. Okay. Now we will not be discussing all the topics because in GS topics we'll be anyways discussing these topics again. Okay. When we will be discussing these topics, and ye sare topics like industrial development in Assam, problems. Okay, let me tell you one more thing. For example, this essay is asking you to write only problems of industrial development in Assam. Now, will you only write the problems and complete your essay? Will that be your essay? No. This is not a GS answer or a 10-marker answer. This is 125-marker question. You need to have proper introduction. You need to have proper conclusion. You need to have discussed the problems along with the advantages of industrial development in Assam, along with the solutions and the recent government steps that have been taken forward. But even this is not what I will ask you to write only. You have to write these things, but this is only a GS elongated answer. You need to put some thoughts. Are you getting it? You need to put some thoughts. For example, this topic is talking about industrial development in Assam. What is a thought? Then I'm giving you 1 minute. Just tell me one particular topic. Suripta, very good. If you have used mind maps, definitely mind maps improve the visibility of your answer. Okay, Suripta. So that is a good thing that you have done. I'll go back. I'll go to the questions again. Minimum marks I've already said, David. Yes, you can also refer to Ashram and Vedic system, where they focus on minimalistic aspect of life. Okay. All right. Now, if we just try to, now I have just explained it to you that how to promote or how to open up your mind. Did you understand? That is, give me a yes or no. Now give me a thought on industries. Can you give me a thought on industries?
Coca-Cola, which is from American company, Analytical industrial revolution was there, capitalization was there. It took further with the Coca.
What is the thought? Capitalism, I understood, but what is the thought?
Industrialization was there. Fascinated was there.
Yes.
More fascinated than exploitation, many of them.
Economic development and innovation.
But the question, see again, problems of industrial level. So our thought that we should go in the introduction should reflect the topic that has been asked. Economic development and innovation, okay, will not be a very good relevant interlinkage with the topic. That is from the positive side. The topic itself is a negative one. So her point of exploitation because of capitalism definitely can be related, but again I'm not that convinced how you'll write. Okay, tell me what. So, any question? Lack of? Man of? Ki question bujhai nahi. Or lack of manufacturing. Lack of manufacturing definitely is a problem, but is it a thought? I'm just, see, it is okay to write GS elongated answer also, you'll get marks. But in order to get a top rank, you need to write thoughts. You need to produce, I am not even saying that you need to write thoughts. By thoughts, I am trying to mean that you need to write something different that others will not write. Because GS answer, everyone will write. For example, anyone else wants to try? Just try at least.
Risk management.
Risk management.
Lack of
Okay.
industrial minds.
Lack of industrial minds. Minds. Risk-taking ability. Most of GS. Huh? All GS. These are all GS. Pollution. Okay.
Because of that, we have people.
You are always in the class thought. Are you very much empowered by Karl Marx? Are you a political science student?
No, I am a socialist.
Socialist student. So you've read Marx, I think, very because you are predeterminedly economist in nature, where you're trying to promote class division. Right? Okay, that's good. That's right. But don't try to highlight only from one perspective. Okay? Because that is what I'm trying to say. You have to make your answer multi-dimensional. You have to make your answer look very dynamic. Very.
Why can't we use innovation?
Huh?
Why can't we use innovation?
No, we can use innovation, definitely. We can use innovation. I'm not saying. I am saying.
As a colleague of mine, the example of the Industrial Revolution, it was because technological development in Europe. That was part of the Enlightenment Revolution.
That is where I am coming, and I have in fact written the introduction in this manner only. But economic development and innovation relating with problems of industrial development, I am not able to convince a thought that you are trying to give. So let me tell you what I have written, or you cannot. Again, these classes are not like hard and fast that you have to follow it.
If we have to look at if we use the perspective of economic development, then the rapid industrialization, of course, gives a boost to the GDP.
Now you are coming into life. Yes.
For example, I've been to the Rust Bucket states of the United States. I've been in Detroit. I've seen this massive automobile industry that General Motors, Ford Motors, Chrysler. Of course, because of these industries, Michigan is a highly developed state. They've got the best highways, best infrastructure.
Yes. So how is it reflecting a thought to the problems of industrial development in Assam? That is where I'm not convinced. Okay, I'm coming to that. So, industrial revolution definitely has occurred in the Western society, specifically in the Western states of Europe, like France, Britain, okay, Germany, and who were guided by a philosophy or a thought of Protestant ethics. Okay, you have read sociology. So, what's your name? Himashri. Okay. So you read sociology. You know Max Weber, and he talks about Protestant ethics. That's a thought. Okay, that is coming from the cultural aspect. But I didn't write this. I wrote about industrial revolution, and right now the world is going through the fourth stage of industrial revolution. Okay, where the developed economies are talking about fourth stage of industrial. यहाँ पे topic है problems of industrial development in Assam. Are they trying to analyze on the first stage of industrial or manufacturing sector only? No, because I know maximum people will write about what? Manufacturing sector, because by industry we understand what manufacturing. Yes or no? Maximum people will write about manufacturing because industry mane ki manufacturing for us. But what is our developed economies right now talking about? Because we know when you read newspapers, you will see that the industrial development right now is going through the fourth stage of industrial revolution. First stage, though, it was the Western societies went through in the 18th century itself, when the French Revolution was going through. Okay, after the commercial revolution, scientific revolution, and the Enlightenment and the Renaissance phase happened, through so many scholars like Rousseau, Montesquieu, Voltaire, who gave the new concepts. And by questioning the authority of that time, that is the church, who believed in heliocentric nature of solar system. Thinkers like Galileo and Copernicus, they questioned the authority, that is the church, that sun is not the center of the solar system, it is the earth. They gave a new concept of geocentric. And they were killed, they were executed because of that innovation. And that is the time period referred to as the dark age of, or the medieval history of Europe or the Western societies. After that, after the establishment of innovation or discovery of new trade routes and the commercial revolution and the scientific revolution, there occurred the industrial revolution, which we call it as the first phase. But right now, our society is going through a fourth phase of industrial revolution, where we are talking about Internet of Things, where we are talking about artificial intelligence, where we are talking about data. Yes, and because of this, Assam being highly backward in all these aspects, whether it is about data, whether it is about artificial intelligence, whether it is about Internet of Things, we will face the major problem of deficit of social capital in the society. And that is a thought I have written in the introduction. This will be the major problem. Suppose if cryptocurrency is launched in our society right now, which is a part of fourth industrial revolution, then I will again start with first stage of industrial revolution. Getting it? But introduction थोड़ा सा हटके, ताकि evaluator को क्या लगे कि okay, something different, and he or she will be interested to now read the essay. Are you getting it? So when you are introducing fourth industrial revolution topics in a backward industrially developed state like Assam, there will be a major problem of deficit of social capital. Why? Because if you are developing artificial intelligence, if you are developing Aadhaar, which is also data, how many people willingly supported registration to Aadhaar? So many people did not willingly. And that is why government of India after 2019 has postponed it to interlink Aadhaar with mobile phone, bank account and everything. Did it happen? No. But government had given a deadline of 31st March 2019. But they postponed it indefinitely. Why? Because they were seeing the loss of social capital with the voters. The same thing will also happen in a backward. Suppose if cryptocurrency is being applied, majority of the people will not have this knowledge how to utilize this cryptocurrency. Coming back to her point, because of industrial revolution, capitalism, there is class division. Now there will be division who will, a new form of division in our society, who will have access to cryptocurrency and who will not have access to cryptocurrency, and that will bring a division in the society. And because of that, we will have access to cryptocurrency, will be more secured. Okay, their bank accounts will be more secured, their efficiency will improve, their ease of doing business will improve, but that will further take the other majority section of the people more backward, which will lead to more problem in industrial development in Assam. And when there is also a lack of social capital between the government and the people, there will be more and more approaches, or because that happened when we saw during the license Raj policy in the 1950s to 60s to 70s till 1990s, till LPG reforms came up. Because nobody trusted the government because of red tapeism, and after that when government tried to promote ease of doing business, now more and more business are coming up in our society. Okay, so lack of social capital is the thought that I'm trying to put in industrial development. Because if you are promoting, I'm talking about fourth industrial revolution first, and then I'm starting the next paragraph defining what is industrial development by defining from first phase of industrial development, where it started, from where it evolved. For example, it evolved by questioning the church, that is the then authority of the Western European societies. Okay, and how a new religion and a culture of Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism evolved, and from where it led to the industrial development and where we are now. Okay, so after that, definitely I have also written GS. NATO points kahan se aaye? Okay, so I have written problems of industrial development. I have written problem of lack of access to financial institution credit facilities. Okay, lack of skilled manpower. Now these points everyone will write. Yes or no? Lack of proper industrial policies. Okay, then lot of difficult in geographical terrain, lack of proper infrastructural development. Okay, I have written these points also. So this point, but if you write only these points, which will be written by every candidate, can you expect 20 marks extra in your essay? Or if you have a better approach, you can also follow that. But this is what I think. If you can write something different, some thoughts in the introduction itself, and even now, quote writing has also become very common. Many things that there was a time when toppers used to write quotes, and they used to say in their after they like when they cleared the exam, and they used to say that I wrote this quote, that quote, and then it became a trend that everyone has started to write quotes. So it has also become a common aspect. So you try to produce the difference, you try to produce that uniqueness in you, that how you are eligible to become or lead the administration, and why someone else is not eligible to lead the administration. That is what you want to become, right? By giving this exam. So that difference, or that which you need to produce, the difference which, or the uniqueness which you need to produce in your answers, it will only come when you will start thinking on whatever you have read. The cryptocurrency we all read. Okay, cryptocurrency we all read. Now cryptocurrency, are you willing to invest in cryptocurrency?
Yes.
You are, because you have that exposure of the developed economy. But majority, 99% in Assam are not willing to invest in cryptocurrency because of its anonymity, And because of the lack of trust in the system, the deficit in social capital. What we mean by social capital? Trust. Okay, so that is a thought we can highlight. So that is just an example. बाकी तो हम लोग लिख सकते हैं पूरा. All right. So that is how we approach. Sorry. That is how we should approach, and definitely you'll get 20 marks extra because of this, and that makes your answer more mature. Okay. So this is where we'll stop for today. Tomorrow we'll go ahead with GS 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and accordingly. We'll also discuss ethics, case studies and everything. We'll complete mains by this week and we'll start from the prelims syllabus from Monday. Okay, and from the next to next Sunday, your test series will start. You'll get the schedule and we'll be also launching the daily answer writing program. All right, only for 200 students initially. Okay, and where you can send us maximum 20 answers on a daily basis, and which will be evaluated within 72 hours and you will get the feedback. And this is one approach which you need to start with if you want to overcome this challenge of the mains. And this needs time to evolve. It is not a 1 day or 2 day job. Okay, it is an evolving procedure which will take at least 8 to 10 months of time period if you want to crack your exam by this attempt. If you have a 5-year planning, it's up to you. You can keep on evolving. Okay, like planning commission used to plan for 5 years. You can also do the same thing, but I don't think you all will be happy with that. Okay, so please start writing answers, start solving MCQs on a daily basis, start reading newspapers, that is must. But you don't make notes from it, that is completely fine, because this time we will be also teaching current affairs within the classes. Okay, from both prelims as well as mains perspective, we'll be giving you the notes also. So if you are not making notes from current affairs, that is completely fine. But you should definitely, because that opens up your mind. Okay, did today's class open up your mind at least 1%? So if you read more editorials, if you read more experts who write so many topics, who write on various topics, your minds will continuously keep on opening up. So it's very important. But this thing you don't get in the videos where you select what convenience. Because what happens in the videos? Really give you the points. Okay, this is a bill that has come. This is the features of the bill. Okay, this is a critical analysis of bill. So your mind is already blocking up. Your mind will not think beyond that. But the question will come beyond that. Or it will also not help you in the essay writing. But when you read that article written by some expert in the editorial format, you will also try to think from the author's perspective. Okay, so that is why I always say that 1 hour newspaper reading is must. 1 hour MCQ practice is must. 3 hours NCERT reading is must from today if you want to crack the exam this year. And I am putting a challenge for all of you. This time, I will be also covering NCERTs in the class. Not only me, even other faculties of my institute. By Monday, I am giving you a challenge. You should complete class 11 NCERT Indian Constitution at Work, Indian Polity. Because you are starting with Polity from Monday. And by Monday, there are 3-4 days left. You have to complete that book. And my challenge is that I'll show you how I will complete the entire book of Indian Polity, along with notes by dictation, only in 3 hours. Entire book. And that will cover in Monday itself, on Monday itself. But I want all of you to read it once before we cover it in the class. Getting it? And it's a challenge. I'll complete that in just 3 hours. Entire 10 chapters of the book Indian Constitution at Work, along with notes making. And you complain to me that in 1 month, many people are not able to complete even one single NCERT. Is it the case? If it is the case, then you are not on the right track. Okay? You need to read, make notes, revise, practice MCQs. That is very, very important. Okay? So thank you everyone. I hope this class will benefit you a lot. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay, and have a good night. Bye-bye. Take care. Yes, that is also good, Sudipta. If you have started with Ramakrishna Paramahansa Swami Vivekananda's concept, that can be done. That is good. Thank you, Sudipta, for your feedbacks. So we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, and bye-bye. Take care. Good night.